Welcome to the UTG at Work podcast. I'm Deacon Mike Houghton. I'm the Executive Director of an apostolate called UTG at Work. Our mission is to help women and men joyfully live their faith and witness to Christ in the gospel in the workplace. I'm happy to be with you as we explore the Sunday gospel in ways that help people who work. You can find this podcast as well as helpful articles, videos, and other materials on our website, which is utgatwork.org. You can also subscribe to this podcast through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other podcasting sites, as well as our UTG at Work YouTube channel. This weekend we celebrate the 16th Sunday in Ordinary Time, and our gospel is a reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Glory to you, O Lord. Jesus entered a village where a woman whose name was Martha welcomed him. She had a sister named Mary, who sat beside the Lord at his feet, listening to him speak. Martha, burdened with much serving, came to him and said, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me by myself to do the serving? Tell her to help me." The Lord said to her in reply, "Martha, Martha, you are anxious and worried about many things. There is need of only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, and it will not be taken from her." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. There are certain people who I truly feel sorry for because their entire life's experience is seemingly defined by one bad moment. No matter how much good they did, it just doesn't seem to overcome the memory of that one bad thing that labels them. In the Bible, we have a few such people. One is poor Thomas, a devoted and beloved apostle of the Lord. He was handpicked by Jesus to be one of the 12, and after Jesus' resurrection, it said that he converted many thousands of people to Christianity in the East. But what is Thomas best known for? The fact that he doubted the resurrection after Jesus appeared to the apostles while he wasn't in the room. Despite all the good that he did, he's forever known as Doubting Thomas. An example from the world of sports is Bill Buckner. Poor Bill was a legendary baseball player, playing 22 seasons over which he had more than 2,700 hits, and he won a batting title. But what is he most remembered for? In the 6th game of the 1986 World Series, he was playing first base for the Boston Red Sox when he committed an error on a weak ground ball hit off the bat of New York Mets' Mookie Wilson. The ball dribbled through Buckner's legs, completing a stunning Mets comeback victory. The deflated Sox went on to lose Game 7, and frustrated Sox fans who hadn't won a series in 68 years made Buckner the scapegoat for years afterwards. In the business world, there are plenty of examples as well. One of them is someone who I met and worked with, Rick Wagner, the one-time CEO of General Motors. Rick joined GM in 1977 and steadily rose through the ranks. He held several key leadership roles. He was the CFO and also the head of GM's North America operations before becoming the chief executive officer in the year 2000. He was widely respected for his intelligence, his integrity, and his deep knowledge of the company. Under his leadership, GM made some notable gains in global markets, especially China and Latin America, and they invested in fuel-efficient technologies and hybrid development. But despite his long tenure and his many successes, Wagner is most remembered for presiding over GM's decline into bankruptcy during the 2008-2009 financial crisis. In 2009, as a condition of the government's rescue plan, President Obama's Auto Task Force requested that he resign, and he did. His departure became a symbol of GM's fall, the largest industrial bankruptcy in U.S. history. In today's gospel, we have another such person, and that is Martha. Poor Martha was a good friend of Jesus. She and her sister Mary, as well as her brother Lazarus, were close to the Lord and were known to him as friends. But in this well-known gospel passage, Martha is corrected by Jesus for making the decision to clean up to honor his visit, rather than to sit at his feet and listen to him. For all the good that Martha did, she's forever known as the one who made the wrong choice. Now, there are many lessons to be learned from this gospel passage about how we all need to focus on Jesus rather than the mundane things of life. And these lessons have been taught over the centuries by many great preachers who were far more skilled than I at weaving the gospel passage into a message about putting first things first. But There's more to this passage than just that message. You see, like Thomas, Bill, Rick, and Martha, there are many of us who likewise feel that our lives are defined by one big failure, or perhaps by a series of smaller failures. And this is a very serious problem because it causes these people to embrace a negative sentiment about themselves that not only makes them unhappy, but also pulls them away from the Lord and away from being the joyful missionary disciple that the Lord calls them to be. These are the people who are known by a label. She's the one who flunked out of high school. He's the one who got the DUI in college. She's the one who got pregnant and wasn't even sure who the father was. Never mind that these people sought forgiveness, repented, dusted themselves off, and made restitution for what they did, or have even gone on to great success. No, they are forever defined by that one bad moment in their life, both by others who refuse to forget, or worse yet, by themselves because they refuse to believe that they are forgiven. When Moses asked God what his name was, how did God answer? He said, "Tell the Israelites, I am sent me to you." God's very name is I am. It's not I was or I will be. God's name is I am. And this is how he looks at us as his beloved children. We're not what we were, and we're not what we did wrong some years ago. In fact, we're not even what we did right some years ago. We are present to God as what we are today, in the here and now. It's obviously true that our current situation has a link to our past. This is a simple reality of the time continuum. But while our past has led us to our present, it does not and cannot define it. Our present is defined by how we love God and neighbor today. And if our past is negatively impacting that present reality, then we're a victim of being held back by a label from our past. Do you define someone by their past? A family member, a friend, or a coworker? Do you chain them to their past sins and make them a slave to what they were, rather than allowing them to be what they can be, free from those chains? Perhaps it's time to reconsider your approach to that person. But on an even more personal level, do you define yourself by your past? Do you chain yourself to the sins of your past and make yourself a slave to what you were, rather than allowing yourself to be what you can be, free from those chains? Far too many people do exactly this, and it causes them to be forever victims of a label of what they were. We can stop another from being the very best that they can be by chaining them to the sins of their past. We can stop ourselves from being the best we can be by chaining ourselves to the sins of our past. God doesn't want that. He's the great I am, and he wants us to be fully present to him in each day as the best we can be today. This doesn't mean that our past is wiped away. It means that our past is not being allowed to label or define us. There's an old saying which is very applicable here. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift. That's why we call it the present. The gift of the present comes from a loving Father who can't wait to love us for who we are, with no concern for who we were. Thanks for joining me for this week's UTG at Work podcast. I look forward to meeting again next week. In the meantime, I encourage you to boldly live your faith in the workplace in the week ahead. I'll pray for your success, and I ask that you pray for the success of this UTG at Work apostolate. If you want to learn more about us, please visit utgatwork.org. Now go in peace, glorifying the Lord by your life.